South Mississippi. Your shutter snaps because you think Spanish moss sways clean and whispers warm breezes across dewy French skin. Close up, moss is filled with bugs and veils family secrets gossiped branch to branch. Scratchy 45 sing of sultry summer nights, make no mention of things that bite, of things that frighten, of things that grant access to children. Our tongues are thick and slow, adorable to your forwardness, nasal and clipped. But our endless words like river sharpen and hone even the dullest rocks, break bones much slower than sticks and stones. Admire the cries of azaleas, red and purple as the welts left by their stems, green and thorny when mama can't find her wooden spoon. And that's not mid-julep in Daddy's hand, Big Daddy's hand. His whiskey is cheap and hard in the blacks. He rocks on the porch for you, smiles all gentlemanlike for the picture you take home to the land of oatmeal. Camera blinks, Big Daddy goes inside, opens bottle, loosens belt, closes fist. And long after your tour bus leaves, we hide and pray. Stay outside until cicada shimmering becomes buzzing, becomes nothing but breathing, and then sweat rolling down my neck. Here are also listens in silver moonbeams and firefly lanterns. Thank you.
I just wanted to mention that Kenny Stabler, the great Oakland Raiders quarterback, died this evening. So I meant to dedicate my poem to Kenny Stabler, but I wouldn't dedicate the whole reading to Ken Stabler because it's really, really worth it.
Okay, we're going to have one more open mic reader before our feature, and she will be Desiree. Desiree, you ready to come on?
I seriously have the urge to keep doing the hands in the air thing every time I see your shirt. Awesome.
I appreciate it.
I tried to find a connection between the three poems I'm reading tonight. I don't really think there is one, except that maybe there's a slow pedal to the floor kind of revving up feeling. That's about it. The first one is Bones and Sand for summer. Locals flock like birds to carnage, picking through sand-crusted remains littered in the night on Pule-Taha Beach. Tips of flip-flops buried under calcium carbonate, flicked and scattered in the search for vertebrae decomposing on shore. He rolls over, shielding blue water eyes from overhead sun, checking out the birds of paradise. I brush my towel, resting on one elbow, pulling the corner from under sand, staring at him, past him, to the old man looking for dinner in washed-up bones. A little faster now. Response to overheard coffee shop confessions of a high school bully. I'm that girl you punched outside gym for no good reason. I'm that girl you talked about because I wore a purple sweater with hearts. I'm that girl who bled through her jeans. You pointed and spread your hate in 5th period math. I'm that girl you laughed at with my so-called friends because my name rhymes with Leslie. I'm that girl you said was easy because my first-time guy said so. You didn't care like he didn't care that I said no. I'm that girl you didn't expect to see at college because I never had money for lunch. I'm that girl you friend on Facebook, thinking time has erased your past. It hasn't. This last one came out of Chris Luna's workshop, and He doesn't ask us to plug it, but I gotta tell you, it is the best fucking thing to get your mind juices flowing. I love it. I can't speak highly enough, and the stuff that comes out of that is richer than any gold mine. So this is Jim Morrison in the age of plastic. Bourbon sweat high, pot high, drunk high, firm flesh high, topless. Backseat bargain east on Sunset, his hand in my pants, sinking down all the way to Venice. Sloppy wet fingers on cars and hair, on the pulse in my neck, pulse in his pants, firm flesh madness, screaming east on Sunset. Full moon love out of sync with the passing cars, saturate, inebriate, consummate, all the longing of young hearts into now raging east on Sunset. Campfire peyote sessions in the sand under the pier, over and over and over, he rolls me between his legs, between his words, winding up to stop and wind down to nothing.
Thank you. Well, thanks for mentioning that workshop. And since you mentioned it, I want to just let people know it happens right next door. We take a couple of months off in the summer, so the next one will be the second Saturday of September, if you'd like to come. And it's always at noon on the second Saturday of the month. So it's my pleasure now to introduce you to Alex Dang, who's a member of the 2013, 14, and 15 Portland Poetry Slam team, competing at the National Poetry Slam, and the youngest representative from Portland in the Slam's history. He's a Eugene Grand Slam champion of 2014 and 15. Videos of his performances have amassed over 1.5 million views on YouTube. He's been a speaker at 2 TEDx events, TEDx Reno and TEDx University of Oregon. He's been a speaker, he's also performed in over 35 cities, 20 states, and is a world-renowned burger expert. And he has a chapbook for sale this evening called You Can Do Better. Let's please give a warm ghost town welcome to Alex Dang.
Hey pretty people, how are you guys doing? My name is Alex Dang and I came all the way from the mystical land of Portland, Oregon just to visit y'all. How are you guys doing? Good. Out of curiosity, how many of you have been to a poetry slam or know what poetry slam is? Okay, a good portion of you. So a lot of you guys might know or might not know, I do a lot of slam poetry, and what we slam poets really enjoy is like a lot of audience reaction. So if you hear something in your poem, please snap, you can clap, you can stomp, you can just shout out something, you can just let your exuberance fly. I absorb that energy, I bring it back out, and we have a really good time. If y'all can do that for me, that'd be cool. Otherwise, hi, I'm very excited to do this. Oh my goodness. So I write a lot of poems from my personal perspective, my personal narrative. I used to write poems a lot about things that I had no idea about, like the revolution or like global peace in general, and like they never really clicked, and I realized it's because I wasn't being honest to myself. And I then realized that once I started being honest, once I started being genuine, once I started writing about things I care about, my poetry became more interesting for myself. So tonight's theme is you get to learn a lot about Alex Dang. And I think the best way to start that out is the first 2 poems I'm going to do, they're going to be about my mom, and then the next one's going to be about my dad, because that's kind of where I came from, literally. A little context about my first poem. My mom and dad are both from Vietnam, and they came around the early 80s to America after the collapse of Vietnam and after the end of the war. So they're what is commonly referred to as boat people. And they got here around the 80s, and they have really helped me grow as a person, and just to let you know about that, so that's what I will be referencing in these poems next. Everybody that I love has a superpower, and they will tell you that their origin story did not make them who they are. The people I look up to do not tell me that their Uncle Ben, destruction of Krypton, Night at the Opera is what made them strong. The people I look up to do not tell me that their drug addiction, alcoholism, grief is what made them strong. The ability to become, after the world sledgehammers you, is what makes them great. My mom tells me that her story is not what made her super. Let me explain. I was born and bore witness to her immense strength. As far as superheroes go, she is by far the most overpowered. With a frame of 4 foot 10 inches, my mother, not too Tran, redefines comic book badassery. Super strength. With one hand, she has carried 4 sons and tossed their sorry selves through college, and with the other, made my father, a mountain of a man, a pebble smooth into the shape of her palm. Intelligence, such gems like do it right once or do it wrong 3 times, don't be sorry, just don't do it again, and of course the world's favorite, of course I know everything, I'm your mom. Telepathy, all the times I thought I was being sneaky as shit in high school, but she was just letting me get away with it. Clairvoyance, she can see ghosts too. She still sees her father like when she was 7, still hanging in the kitchen after he found out the communists were going to take him away. Still drifting in her mind back and forth, a pendulum ticking away her innocence. She hears ghosts too. Still hears the cries of my sister, feels her small form, all bundle of light, all star glow gone as soon as she's shown in our world. Resilience, all she could do was watch her mother's wedding ring spirit away into the captain's pocket, jingling with all the other boat people's tickets out of the only home that they have ever known. Watch countries deny refugees of safety, of humanity, of existence. Watch days crawl in a re-education camp where she learned nothing but adversity, immortality. She should have died, become a statistic about Vietnamese immigrants who did not make it, a Viet Cong prisoner, and another shouting point for American protesters to end a war that she called childhood, and yet she still stands as a lesson to prove how incredible we can all be. She has never let her tragedy trump her triumph, never accepted that this was all there was, never waited for a miracle to grant the miracle that I called mom, only stitched up my cape and told me that I could fly. So on the flip side of that coin, a lot of people have those stories. They have a lot of immigration stories to this country, but a lot of people refuse to talk about it. And my dad is also just kind of like a dad. Like, he just doesn't talk that much. He makes goofy jokes. He's very much like committed to making my life better. You know, he's like a normal, like, just a goofy dad, but like never really talked much about his experiences, really was more focused on his life currently and how to provide more and more for me and my 3 older brothers. So while my mom often reminds us about where we come from, my dad, his past has always been shrouded in history, but he's always focused on the future. So this is a poem for him. My dad got to this country and saw all these magnificent metal beasts roam the streets, each stronger and more glitter than the last. He told me, America loves cars. So he decided to learn everything about them. He always said that someone will always be needed for repairs. We don't talk much, my dad and I. Speak a total of, I don't know, like 13 words, and then we let the hum of the pavement fill in the rest. My dad likes cars because they're easier than people. People don't have a check engine light, don't have a dashboard, don't tell you if something's wrong, but cars are always honest. My dad is always honest. Nah, he won't talk much, but he'll let his motor oil hand speak for him. Growing up, my brothers and I never learned much about cars. 4 sons of a mechanic and not one of us could replace a blown tire. My dad just never taught us. Told us he would be around forever to fix all of our cars. Plus, we'd all be college men. We'd be doing more important things. Never really talked about love, but he definitely showed it. So while he's teaching me how to drive, he turns off the radio. I was listening to that. Listen to the car, my dad says. Cars always tell you what's wrong, but only if you listen. So, I'm trying to listen to the car. And I listen to the whir of the engine, pistons pumping gasoline and fire as we cruise down Powell, and I think of the power it takes to get metal, son, and father down the boulevard, and I hear my dad's heart. I hear this heavy machinery, all ignition and patience as I forget to switch my blinker on, go too fast in the school zone, and my dad laughs and tells me to check my mirrors, check my blind spots, check my weaknesses, tells me to listen. My dad has been listening his entire life, never once turned on the emergency brake, kept sugar out of his gas tank, turned the key and carried us with him. But his heart is getting weaker, nothing lasts forever. Some things you can only prevent from breaking down further. So I tried to find the owner's manual to my father, tried to reassemble the engine of his childhood to see what steered him here. But his make is of another generation, something I can't understand, something I don't have instructions to, something his dashboard refuses to show me. There's so much mileage in my father's bones, spots in the road never ventured because he never took us there, told us dead end, told us wrong way, told us turn around. I don't know what secrets he is hiding in his workshop, what corroded things he harbors like rusted ghosts in a junkyard. All I know is that I want my hands to look like they've been dipped in oil, to look like they have done something important, like a mechanic's, like my dad's. I want to be like my dad. Someone who is so good, who always carries you from the back seat into your bed, who lets you sit on his lap and steer the wheel, who always reminds you to buckle your seatbelt. Dad, I know you won't ever tell me what is wrong. It's okay, we'll just drive instead. I promise I'm listening. Was that I gave those were like my quasi Mother's Day and Father's Day presents, and they're like, oh my gosh, like this was really cool, but also like, where's my real present? No, we joke. We have a lot of fun in the Dang family. So I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and I've lived there my entire life. And growing up in a predominantly like pretty white place. I mean, y'all have seen Portlandia. It's pretty accurate. And like growing up in that kind of location as a half Chinese, half Vietnamese boy in like this day and age in America was interesting. It wasn't like the worst thing in the world, but it was interesting. And it taught me how to deal with a lot of multicultural identities all in the same pocket. And I remember one of the most primary ways that I learned about this was through language, because in my house, I spoke mainly Vietnamese. Everywhere else, I spoke English, but then I was also learning Chinese in school. So I had like 3 different languages, and I didn't know which one was like the right one. And I remember there was this one time in preschool, and I was sitting down, and I was like crying because I couldn't explain to my teacher that I wanted to eat an apple. I knew the word for apple in Vietnamese, but I did not know it in English, and that's what mattered at that time. And I was so frustrated, and it was just this weird idea of how could I not accomplish this really simple communication. So this is a poem about a multicultural identity through the guise of language. I remember not knowing how to speak. When I was in preschool, my entire family was so worried that no one would understand me. I spoke this Frankenstein monster tongue of Vietnamese and English. The gaps between 2 broken languages cannot make a full sentence. So, every other Wednesday during kindergarten, I'd be pulled out of class to fix my speech. My words blurred like hummingbird wings, and my song came out as a whirlwind, too quick to comprehend, too fast to decipher. There were strands of line pouring out with different clicks and keys, a broken Morse code that twisted wicked confusion easy. But I learned how to smooth and comb the knots of my talk at the same time I was taught Chinese in elementary school, so no one would expect chipped china plates lined along the soft of my gums. But I only mastered English. At family gatherings, uncles and aunts spoke very slowly to me, their sentences just hanging in the air. While on the other hand, I would read big government letters to my parents. I made speeches. I learned how to do jump rope rhymes like 99 nuns in an Indiana nunnery, or I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch, things my parents could never say. And in class, I studied Chinese, found out how to say the things I already knew how to say in English, but forgot to label in Vietnamese. But there's some Chinese words that sound exactly like their English definition. For example, Coca-Cola, cafe, bolagan, and there's some Vietnamese words that sound ugly and jagged as they dangle out of my mouth. They hang awkward and loose from my teeth. I speak elbows and straight vocal cords as hard as I tried to adopt my native voice back. It never came out as clean or as silky as the commercial talk that I heard on television every day. My mother is Chinese. My father is Vietnamese. I am American. She speaks Chinese. He dreams Vietnamese. I speak prepared tongue. I dream renovated dialect. I'm sorry, but can you speak a little bit slower? And I'm sorry, but can you just repeat yourself? It's not that I don't want to talk to you. It's just because I can't. It's because I don't know how. I'm still trying to tell you. I'm still holding on so tightly to the stitched words and patched up language of my childhood. Even in my perfect English, there are some things I just don't know how to say. Something is a Vietnamese word that does not exist in English. It means I am done. It means I am through with you. I am at the end of my rope. Alright, great. So I'm going to do 2 more poems just to let y'all know where we're at in the night. First, here is going to be my shameless self-promotion. I've got a book for sale. I've been doing a few shows, so I actually only have 5 left, but they're real good. My mom said it was pretty good, and like, as you guys know, she's great, so her opinion is like 5 stars, would recommend. It's a chapbook called You Can Do Better, and it's $15, and I will be in the back selling them. If not, my publisher also has a website called whereyoupressstore.com, and you can also order the book there. We're based right in Portland, so you can get that book pretty quick too. Anyways, now that money part is over, let's go into a new money part. Who here is in college? We got any college kids in the house right now? Alright, we got a few. Alright, here's the more important question. Who here is in debt because of college right now? Yeah? There we go. It's like a come home. Welcome home, Alex. So I wrote this poem because I realized college is really expensive and it's kind of bogus. Like, it's really dumb. It's so expensive and it's so dumb. Because like, then because you know, we've all been there. Like, we're trying to make it from paycheck to paycheck. You run into the public bathroom with a little plastic baggie and you pump all the hand soap in there and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wash my hands tonight. You know, we do crazy things to like make it to the next day. So this poem was me literally Googling how to get rich quick, and I figured it out, so I'll tell you guys in poem form. So I'm in college, realizing that the internet meme forever alone has 2 typos in it. There should be a space between A and loan should be spelled L-O-A-N. Understanding that I need money, I start my Google search. Blood bank in Eugene, Oregon. Plasma center in Portland, Oregon. Sperm donation in Vancouver, Washington. Did you know that a kidney goes for $262,000? I could live with 1 kidney. Skin is $10 per square inch. A gallbladder is $1,219. Who even knows what a gallbladder is for anyways, right? I do. It's to sell. Imagine, I have so much to offer to the right buyer. So I put in the paperwork, got the permit, and reserved the space for an auction to buy me. I dressed in my nicest clothes, made the room a comfortable temperature, warmed up my body for the stage. You should have seen all the things you could have bought. Glittering displays of legs, feet, arms, eyes, everything must go. $5,000 for my sense of direction to the freshman always getting lost in philosophy class. $3,000 for my punctuality to the girl in the back who keeps missing the bus. $10,000 for my fashion sense to the boy who wears running shoes everywhere. Where are you even going? Why are you always running there? $12,000 for my writing skills to the senior who needs to get those English prereqs done. Nothing left except cold, hard cash. I am now the proud owner of $1.2 million. I can now graduate college without any debt. This is so much better. And I see my peers take suit. I see my best friend strip away her bite and venom, placing it gently into the claws of a corporation who promise her a promotion and she just takes them by the hand quietly. My roommate exchanges his running shoes for a pair of brown Oxfords, blue button-up, and khaki slacks. He is now working for a condo development that is slowly demolishing the park he once ran at. But the full belly of your pocket is something you want to get used to. The playwright that used to push controversy is now writing dialogue for commercials. The comedian who used to do 4 open mics a night is now selling edited jokes to a laugh reel. She used to sing the sweetest serenades, now reduced to the jingle of advertising. He was going to be a public defender, but now burns the people he swore to protect with flaming stacks of $100 bills just because he can. But the chime of 30 silver coins in your hand is a pretty sound. This is this far from your last supper, everything must go. Nothing left except cold, hard cash. This is so much better, right? So with that being said, buy my book, because it turns out selling a kidney is a lot harder than you might think. I Googled how to sell kidney, and then Google was like, it's illegal. So then I was like, how to legally sell kidney, and it didn't yield the results. But if anything, please just talk to me after the show. I love making new friends. I came all the way from Portland, but I mean, you guys have been a really wonderful crowd, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Christopher, for having me out and curating this wonderful, wonderful space. Y'all are a very, very pretty audience, and thanks for making my Thursday. And then I have to go back to Eugene because I have school, I have work to do and stuff. So thank you for giving me a little vacation. This will be my last poem, and I'm a really strong believer of finding all the aspects of the world in something. Obviously there's a lot of tragedy that happens, but there's a lot of joy that happens too, and sometimes they have to coexist together. The comedy and the tragic must coexist together. You must be able to laugh at the weird things that happen to you, or just really accept the pain that happens to you. Pain demands to be felt, but so does joy. And I feel like it's really important to own up to that. So this is my last poem about my identity. It was the first time I really tackled being an Asian American within a poem. And I wanted to capture it all. I wanted to capture the laughter, the weirdness, the irony, the frustrations, the pride, the shame, and thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. So he asked me, what kind of Asian are you? And I just laughed, and I smiled, and I said, well, that's kind of a loaded question. What kind of Asian do you expect me to be? Because anyway you slice that egg roll, I'm still pretty much whatever you want to see. I have played many a Far East stereotype. Awkward math genius, cold and calculated kung fu expert, assistant to Dr. Jones, you crazy. It's always just dependent on the circumstance. You want me to drive? How so? I can give you Tokyo Drift, Jeremy Lin, Mario Kart, Tiger Woods, and blinker left on for about half a mile. I am the foremost expert on all things Asian. The Meiji era and the Band of the Samurai, done. Confucianism versus Taoism, I'll give it to you with no slant. What's the difference between Asian stereotype 1 and 2? Well, let me tell you anything you want to know about my culture. Let me tell you, in a Mulan-esque soliloquy of me staring in the mirror asking, who is that girl that I see? Let me tell you about Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee and how they're related by blood to me. Let me tell you about being so marginalized, it's the point of I really can't believe that's Asian. Let me tell you about derogatory terms and origins of words such as chink and gook. Let me tell you about the struggle of Asian parents not knowing the language, so we ate pet food because it was cheaper. Let me tell you about the job of interpreter. When you're playing with Lego blocks, but your English is already that much better than your guardians, let me tell you about honor and dignity. Let me tell you about a society that projects us as nothing but the secondary role and never the leading man. Let me tell you all the things that you don't want to know. Like a chink comes from the clanking of metal to railroad as the slaves built train tracks for this country to be connected. Like how the zipper head down the street is called that because the way our heads split open when struck with assault weapons, or how jeeps ran over and left marks across corpses, and someone clever thought that we were only good to unzip. Like how every time you lump an Asian person together into one culture is systematically making us assimilate into an America we thought was better than our war-torn homes. And every time you confuse me for some other nationality that I might share similar features to, strips away my individuality, and I still feel the shame of being Asian. The heat and pious dedication of June 11th, 1963, the envy of blonde hair and blue eyes, and I still remember thinking where all the boys who look like me on TV were. The broken words of my mother and father stage diving off my tongue, the anger I felt when those kids thought I would get them sick, and I still feel the ash of the incense burn my hands as I prayed for my family, and I still remember thinking my skin was what I was worth, and I still feel the ironwork of my bones grow stronger with every train of thought that passes by, and I still feel pride, and I still feel heritage, and I still feel Chinese, and I still feel Vietnamese, and I still feel American, and I still feel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex Dang. Thank you so much. So, say hello to Alex, buy some food and drink, stretch your legs. We'll come back in about 15 minutes for a lot more open mic poetry. And if you can't be with us during the second half, see us on the second Thursday of August.